Well, it's time to get the passport out as the Euro Tour rolls into Munich this weekend. It's often picked as the best one to attend, but if you could go to just one Euro Tour weekend, which one would it be?
Yeah, this is a question that we've actually asked some of our guests on the show in the past. I remember us chatting with Paul Nicholson, Dan Dawson, Philip Brzezinski, the Euro Tour MC, and they've all got their own opinions on it. And there may be some venues or locations from previous years that are no longer on the calendar. I know Dusseldorf is one that Scott mentioned before. For this one, though, I've got to say I'm going to be easily pleased, as you could offer me any of those and I'd be happy to go. I've not been to a Euro Tour yet. It's been on my darts bucket list for a few years now, but I have heard good things about Munich, the one this weekend, which is traditionally held over the Easter weekend. So we've got to give a public service announcement to our listeners. If you're expecting to watch some Euro Tour on the bank holiday Friday, you're going to be disappointed because the tournament doesn't start until Saturday. So you're going to have to wait an extra day to enjoy the darts then. But looking at the locations for 2024, two of those places I have been to before, Budapest and Prague, not for the darts, but two great locations, and I'd love to go back to them. And another option, the Swiss Darts Trophy in Basel in September. It's the first time the Euro Tour is going to be going to Switzerland, so I guess a chance to be a part of history there by choosing that one would be good. And of course, it's probably the best chance of our friend Marcel Wolpen, the Swiss Stompe, qualifying, so it would be great to see him play live as well. And then you've got two Euro Tours in Belgium this year. We've already had one a few weeks ago, but the second one in Antwerp in September as well. The Belgian crowds, we've said it before, up there with the best in the PDC. And then aside from that, you've got one in Austria, one in the Netherlands. I can't recall visiting either of those countries. So again, I'd take either of them to tick off the list. And then we're left with all the other ones in Germany. I've spoken about Munich, Riesa. I've always heard it's one of the hardest ones to get to, so a lot of travelling involved. So maybe my answer is going to boil down to which is the easiest location to get to. But from what I've heard, I'm gonna whittle it down to three. My number one is going to be Munich. Number two for this year is going to be Basel, just for that history element, being the first one in Switzerland. And then number three, I'm going to go with the one in the Netherlands, Rosmalen, and a chance to possibly meet up with some of our Dutch listeners and friends of the show. So there's my top three.
Well, you mentioned the difficulty getting to Riesa. That was actually the first one I went to, and I escaped a hurricane in Houston to get there. So, I don't think you have any excuse to not want to try to get to that one, other than the fact that it's probably not the brightest destination on the European Tour calendar. But it was fun to go to. Flying from Houston to New York to Manchester. Taking the train down to fly to drop my stuff off at Oxford, and then I dropped my stuff off with our producer Hannah in East London, which was a change in plans, which is why I originally flew to Manchester. Then flew from I want to say Gatwick, I can't recall for sure though, to Leipzig, and then took the train excessively hungover the following morning after being out drinking till 2 a.m. in Leipzig to Riesa to go to the Euro Tour. And do you know who was on the first match when I got there?
No, you're going to have to tell me.
Andy Hamilton. Although the first player I saw as I walked up to the venue outside smoking, or I assume he was smoking, I can't recall, was Vincent Camphouse. So that's the first dart player I actually saw at the Euro Tour. But I've been to Riesa, not necessarily the one worth going to. If you had to pick just one, I've been to a couple others. But I've never been to Hungary. I'd love to go to Hungary. I'd love to go to Budapest. So I have to pick that one. It's a place I want to go to. The only place in Belgium I've been is Brussels, and I've heard everywhere else in Belgium is so much better. So I'd go to Antwerp or Wiesa if I could. I've been to Prague. I love Prague. I'll always use an excuse to go back to Prague. I have a friend there I haven't seen in years. So that's not a bad one. Not a bad time of year to go to Prague either. In October, weather should still be nice. But then, there's so many good ones in Germany. I've not been to Munich, so maybe I'll say Munich, but I'm prepared to be told other places to go. You know what? Screw it. I'll go to all 13. Why not? It's worth it. If you have a passport and it's not expiring before the 20th of October, then just go to all 13.